Hello, this is Danielle Yawowiecka with the BBC News. A nighttime curfew has been ordered in Tunisia for the next month, a day after President Kais Saied suspended parliament. He's also sacked more government ministers in the wake of the dismissal of the Prime Minister on Sunday. The president has denied accusations by the biggest political party, Ennahda, that he's carried out a coup. Ahmed Galloul is a former minister from the party.
We do not see what Mr. President has done as something legitimate, and we do not see it as something which can be part of the law or which can come under the Constitution. So he has declared that he is monopolizing all the executive powers under his hand.
President Biden says American combat troops will leave Iraq by the end of the year. He was speaking during a visit to Washington by the Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi. There are currently 2,500 US soldiers in Iraq. Many are expected to remain, training and mentoring Iraqi forces as they fight what's left of the Islamic State group. Powerful Iranian-backed militias in Iraq are bitterly opposed to the American military presence. Here's Barbara Pletasher.
We have some early response already to the BBC from a spokesman for one of the Iraqi militias, in which he said American troops were American troops, whether they were doing a combat mission or whether they were doing an advisory mission. So what Americans are going to be looking at closely and worried about is whether the attacks on their bases by these militias will continue.
A coalition of opposition parties in Peru has elected a new Speaker of Congress in a major setback for the recently elected socialist President Pedro Castillo. He'll be sworn in on Wednesday in a politically divided country after winning the election by a narrow margin. Leonardo Rocha reports.
Mr. Castillo's party was prevented from fielding a candidate for Congress Speaker because of alleged irregularities. Maria del Carmen Alva, a centrist, was elected by a wide margin. She was backed by the losing presidential candidate Keiko Fujimori, who blamed her defeat on fraud without providing evidence. But Ms. Alva has promised to be fair and has said that she is willing to work with a new government. Mr. Castillo has the support of the poorest in Peru, but business leaders and the middle class have expressed concerns about his socialist ideas. Without congressional support, he won't be able to address inequality and poverty, which are his main priorities.
The aid agency Save the Children is calling on international donors to help rebuild the shattered city of Raqqa in northeast Syria. It says children are living in the ruins of the former capital of the Islamic State Caliphate with little access to education, food or basic goods. The city was largely reduced to rubble in 2017. You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. At least 57 people are reported to have drowned off the Libyan coast, the latest large-scale loss of life involving migrants trying to reach Europe. The head of the International Organization for Migration in Libya said he was horrified. Improved weather has contributed to an increase in the number of boats attempting the perilous crossing of the Mediterranean from North Africa. An estimated 1,100 people have died so far this year. The authorities in the US state of Florida have announced that they've identified the remains of the last person to be discovered following the collapse of a seafront apartment block a month ago. Estelle Hedaya was the 98th person confirmed to have died when Champlain Towers South came down. The mayor of Miami-Dade County, Daniela Levine Carver, spoke to reporters.
Although we have identified all of the victims that were reported missing, the Miami-Dade Police Department continues the ongoing search and recovery effort on the evidentiary pile to ensure that all identifiable human remains are recovered.
The Department of Veteran Affairs has become the first US federal agency to order that staff be vaccinated against coronavirus. The instruction applies to more than 100,000 medical workers. Vaccination rates have slowed in the United States, while COVID infections have climbed due to the more contagious Delta variant. The World Food Programme has warned that 500,000 children in southern Madagascar face acute malnourishment. The UN says 5 straight years of low rainfall have wiped out harvests and reduced access to food for many in the worst affected regions. The electric car maker Tesla has registered a big increase in sales and profits despite supply chain problems hampering the industry. The US-based manufacturer said revenue almost doubled to about $12 billion in the second quarter compared with last year. BBC News.